Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now, real quick through the Spirit, this lesson about a dog returning to his own vomit. Proverbs 26:11. As a dog returning to his vomit, so a fool return to his folly. Verse 12. Seest thou a man wise in his own consent? There is more hope for a fool than of him. So you can get a lot out of these verses that's talking about a dog returning to his vomit. But to get some clarity on that vomit, see, it talks about a man being wise in his own conceit. See, a man being wise in his own conceit. Now look at here. Let's get that in Isaiah 28:8. It says, "For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean." See, and then it goes into the whom shall he teach knowledge, and who should he make to understand doctrine. So when you come away from the doctrine, when you come away from what's being taught, precept upon precept, you are going into vomit. And so it says, as a dog return to his vomit, meaning you returning back to these old doctrines. You returning back to your old self, to your old way of thinking, turning back to Christianity, being a Islam, Muslim, a Moorish temple type of person, or you returning back to Egyptology, talking about a freaking Egypt and Hamite Africans. You returning back being black. You returning back being a African American or a Puerto Rican, a Mexican. See, a Hispanic, property of Spain, a Jamaican. See, water and land. You returning back being Puerto Rican, a rich port, or Costa Rica, a rich coast. See, what are you returning back to? It's old knowledge, because what God's gonna give you is your identity. See, every other identity has been given to you by the deceiver, the Antichrist, the man of sin, and the son of destruction, the colonizer, aka the so-called white man. See, you're gonna go with that identity, and that is false knowledge. That's a false doctrine. That's a doctrine that's not biblical. Puerto Rican is not biblical. Haitian is not biblical. See, Caribbean, Islander, West Indian, that's not biblical. That's a bunch of vomit. See, Yahweh Shah and the disciples and the Israelites are not so-called white people. That's vomit. To listen to somebody presenting them in that way is like a dog licking up his vomit. See, because you're not just returning there for no reason. So let me get right to it. Let's go to Peter. Peter talked about this. Let me put this on the screen. Salakia. Peter talked about this vomit. Let's get that real quick. 2 Peter. See, they want to freeze it up for me. Yeah, they freezing it up for me. I have to go out of it, the whole thing. Salakia. There we go. All right. 2 Peter's at the bottom, but we're going to start from where he gets to talking about this situation. Okay, let me start at 18 and say, start at 18 and reading down. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through the wantonness, undisciplinedness, those that were clean escaped from them who lived in error, while they promised them liberty. They themselves are servants of corruption. Now, I want to get this in another version because this is a major statement. Bear with me 1 second. But I'm going to keep this one on the screen and get this in another version because this statement that Peter said, it need to be broken down because this what, when I first read it, it kept me on point. Okay, 18, 2:18. It say to make, okay, starting at verse 18. This is the up-to-date version. It say they make high-sounding statements that are empty, but appealing to the desires of the flesh, and with acts of brazen conduct, they entice people who have just escaped from those who live in error. So this is these people that was coming into the congregation trying to entice individuals to fall out the truth. It says, while they are promising them freedom, they themselves are slaves to corruption. For if anyone is overcome by someone, he is his slave. Okay? And that's what these other people that come with these false doctrine. Verse 20. Certainly if after escaping from the defilements of the world by an accurate knowledge of the Mashiach, Yahushua, they get involved again with these very things and are overcome, their final state has become worse for them than the first. Okay, so now it's worse than the first, and you see what it say here in the King James. The latter end is worse with them than the beginning. Okay, then he say, for I'm gonna read the King James 21. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. 22. But it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is returned to his own vomit again, and the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. And so and that soul, it say, and the soul that was washed. So somebody that took a bath, and then now they finna just go back and roll around in a bunch of dirt. Those are the individuals that turn away from the truth, and that let somebody entice them to go back to living in some false doctrine. Okay, now uh let's see here. It was another one. Uh, another precept I had, and it looked like it's leaving me, but so pretty much it's not the time to backslide in these last days. It's time to go harder. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to that Isaiah 28. It said, for all tables are full of vomit and of filthiness, so there is no place clean. See, there's no place clean but the doctrine of Yahweh, because he come in the volume of the book. So the book is the doctrine. See, not man. Man don't come up with no doctrine. The precepts come up with the understanding and the doctrine. And if they not going by the precept, they running their mouth. Do not listen to them and let them pull you into a different doctrine than what this Bible say. See, and if you was following the Bible and you let somebody give you some kind of doctrine out that's not going along with the precepts and with the Bible, you might as well be returning to your vomit, because Christianity did that with John 3:16. You didn't have no precepts to back it up, but you was following it and hanging with the world and thinking God loved everybody. See, letting these people bring these precepts and try to make you believe something that's not in the word. If it's not in the word, do not believe it. And it got to be in the word, not trying to it's a hidden understanding, and it's a deep dark saying and all this kind of stuff. Cause they love to come with this dark saying. Just like this new guy talking about Yahweh is from the tribe of Ephraim. See, and King David was from the tribe of Ephraim because it had a name look similar to Ephraim. But the name went back to Judah. But see, one precept, somebody will come and pull one precept and try to drag you away from a clear teaching in the Bible that King David, King Solomon, and Yahweh came from the tribe of Judah. See, all types of verses prove it, but people will drag you out of that truth by one precept, and that'll be you turning back to your vomit, following a fool. See, that's like somebody that took a bath and cleaned up their body, and they're going to go right back into following one idiot running his mouth, not using the precepts. He said, if any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If he said, that was 1 Peter 4:1, and Isaiah 8:20. If any man speak, let him no. It said, if they don't speak according to this word, it is no light in them. If it ain't to the law and to the testimony, so you got to be in the law, you got to be in a testimony by a prophet, by one of the apostles, so you can go by that, not some random person pulling one precept, two precepts, and it don't go with the narrative of the Bible. So this the time to stay on the course and to stick to the precepts in the Bible and not to go and to these other places, because once you start eating that vomit or you go to wallowing in that dirt again, now your whole body finna be dirty and you just wasted your time. You're gonna be worse than what you started out, like Peter said. But I'm gonna leave it there. I just want to bring that out through the Spirit. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shah, Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.